You are Locked On Dodgers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, welcome into another Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. I am Pete Fox, Evan Phillips. Quick, fast, and in a hurry there in the ninth inning to shut down the White Sox, who had the lead early, and the Dodgers come from behind to get the 4-3 win. Again, I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers Postcast. We come on right after the game and break it down for you. You can listen to us on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed and watch us on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel. I've been covering sports in LA for ESPN and NBC Sports Radio dating back to 2007. Tonight's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports or DFS. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Well, Dodgers take the series, winning the first two against the Chicago White Sox, who are the worst team in baseball. They had a little bit of fight in them. They don't roll over easily. They had the lead tonight after Shohei Ohtani started the game with a home run, not one of his bigger blasts, 376 feet, but nonetheless a home run to get the Dodgers going early and help me with my prize pick. I thought I was off to a really good start, and then I had to double check baseball information. I had forgotten that a walk does not count as part of a total base accruement, because I had total bases for Tommy Pham and Miggy Rojas. So I also had Shohei Ohtani to have total bases of 2.5, I think. So with a home run, that's 4. Check. Bobby Miller, 5 strikeouts. That's really where it all came apart for me. So I thought I was off to a really good start. Shohei Ohtani homering. Tommy Pham walks right out of the box. I was like, there you go. He only needed a half of a base. So anything for him to get on, so I thought, was enough. But it turns out walking does not count. It's got to be a hit. So I had forgotten about that. So I lost that one. And then Miggy did not get a base hit. He also walked. So again, doesn't count. And last but not least, Bobby Miller was not good. That was rather stinky today as far as his performance. And I think, if I remember correctly, last time out, also not good coming off of the IL. So he's got to get the ship righted, because it's kind of all over the place. And it wasn't pretty from the standpoint of giving up home runs right out of the gate. Benintendi homered in the first, and he was just, location was a mess. He was all over the place. Couldn't find the zone to save his life. And when he get ahead in the count, he tried to throw something with some cut, some break, a strikeout pitch, if you will. His strikeout pitch, his favorite pitch, is the four seam, and he wasn't using that a lot. He was trying to throw the slider, the cutter, the curveball, whatever, and it was just not close to the strike zone. So he was pulled after 2. His first inning, he threw 60 total. I think he threw close to 40 in that first inning, which I knew at that point my prize pick was doomed, because there's no way he's going to strike out 5 when he threw almost 40 pitches in the first inning. He gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, walking 3 and 1 K. So back-to-back rough outings for Bobby Miller. And hopefully it doesn't, end up in another IL stint like Walker Buehler after his return kind of went south and didn't look very good. So they put him on the IL to try to, hopefully right the ship for him, help him get his head straight. Maybe he did need more rest. It's hard to say. Sometimes that is a problem coming off of the injured list when you're dealing with a major surgery like Walker Buehler had. Bobby Miller, not so major he was just injured. I don't even remember what it was. I think it was probably an oblique or something like that. But maybe maybe he needs extra time off too. I don't know. It's not a good sign when these guys are coming off the IL and they're not good right away. It's taking them some time to get back, in shape and get their mind right, get their arm right, get their control. So it's that's a rough part of tonight's 4-3 win over the White Sox. Almost any other team tonight you think would have beat the Dodgers because this White Sox team is not very good and their bullpen is terrible. Their starting pitcher tonight was okay. Flexen went 5 2/3, but he ultimately gave up all 4, walking 3, striking out 3, and 2 home runs. Of course, the first one to Shohei Ohtani, and then the big one to Freddie Freeman, which tied the game at 3. That was in the 3rd, and a really, really nice piece of hitting there from Freddie to go opposite field. He was right on the ball and looked just tight, perfect, compact. Way to go. It was A+ on the report card for that piece of hitting there for Freddie Freeman. Miggy Rojas, the little streak, still alive because they won, but he did not get a hit tonight. It's now 23-0 victories for the Dodgers when Miggy Rojas has a hit, which is the longest streak to start a season that there has ever been, or something like that. It's the longest streak that a player has of this kind of streak, right? The getting a hit and the team not losing to start the season. So he has become very superstitious about it, doesn't want to talk about it, but is very aware of it, obviously. I guess I think we're all aware of it at this point. I think it's interesting. I don't believe the Dodgers win because Miggy Rojas gets a hit, but it is fun to follow this streak. I could say that for sure. The Dodgers did a nice job all night of setting the table. It never really felt like the bats were silent. They would get runners in scoring position. They were out hit by the White Sox 8-7, but they did a nice job of getting guys into scoring position and then taking advantage of that a couple of different times to win this game 4-3. So they've now won 50th win of the season. That's nice to see, versus 31 losses. They're 25-15 on the road. Peterson, the 6'7" Brit from Middlesex, England, gets the win. He came in after Bobby Miller was sent to the showers. He threw 2 innings, allowed 1 hit, and no runs, 2 walks, no Ks. Interesting thing about him, he's the first Dodger ever to be born in the United Kingdom. His dad, though, is Californian, and his mother, I believe, is from Nigeria. And they just met in England, I believe, on a business trip, and they moved there to raise the family. So pretty interesting story. And he's a big, tall, hard throwing right-hander. I like it when that guy comes into the game. Hopefully he can find a spot in this Dodger bullpen because I like his dominance. He's got good action, 2 innings, nothing doing except for a couple of walks. His ERA 1.8, 31 pitches, and came away with the win. He's now 2-0. So good for him. This bullpen really saved the day tonight for the Dodgers. And I guess that's expected. It's not really a big surprise the way they've been throwing and pitching and playing of late. So congrats to the bullpen once again for keeping the Dodgers on the right side of things. 4-3, the final, coming from behind to beat the White Sox. Another interesting stat: when the Dodgers fall behind, they were 3-10, now 4-10. So not something they do all that often. So this ultimately, even though it was a bad opponent, worst team in baseball, the 21-win White Sox, still coming from behind, is not something the Dodgers are all that proficient at. So a nice win, 4-3 the final. Thank you for joining me. I'm Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel and the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. We'll take the first break and come back and get into the Diamond Dogs list. Tonight's show brought to you in part by Locked On, and of course, our friends at Tax Network USA. Here on Locked On, the Dodgers Postcast, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for this team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, the playoffs, whatever it is, we're after it year round. And you know what else is a year round thing? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. This is not something you can run and hide from. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. Tax season and taxes in general are a very stressful time for me and my wife. We seem to bicker at each other quite a bit during tax season. And even with a tax professional who has been great for us. So we don't use Tax Network USA specifically, but we do have a tax professional who is a CPA who helps us get through this challenging time of year. And let me tell you, as stressful as it is with her, I couldn't imagine how stressful it would be without her. So if you don't have someone like we do, give Tax Network USA a call. Over 14 years of experience and A+ business rating by the Better Business Bureau. Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt, whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay or a big streak in Vegas this season, and you got to have help dealing with that extra money and correctly filing your taxes around that. Call 800-549-1000, 800-549-1000, or visit taxnetworkusa.com. I'm sorry, tnusa.com/lockedon. See the link in the episode description for details. Tonight's show also brought to you by Supply House. Get supplies for the site that's made the skilled trades more successful at their job. Supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory, over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, and get your stuff delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining Supplyhouse.com's free Trade Masters program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from the free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks. It is supplyhouse.com. Check them out. All right, Dodgers edging the White Sox at guaranteed rate, coming from behind to get it done. 4-3 the final. Daniel Hudson also looked good in the bullpen. Here's how they broke it down with what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 Dodgers out of the bullpen into the game, or 7 Dodger pitchers tonight, 6 out of the bullpen after Bobby Miller was yanked in the second, giving up 3 runs on 4 hits and 60 pitches. Michael Peterson came in, went 2 innings, threw 31 pitches, allowed 1 hit, walking 2. Yohan Ramirez, 2/3 of an inning, gave up 2 hits, but still looked pretty good, throwing 12 pitches. He has a 1.6 ERA dating back to the Dave Roberts arms around the neck pep talk that all you Dave Roberts haters like to ignore. The fired Dave Roberts crew does not want to give Dave Roberts the just due or credit he deserves for situations like that with Yohan Ramirez, who again has a 1.6 ERA dating back to that date, which was May 24th. So he's been really good, even though his ERA is a little bit high in general at 4.5. A lot of that has to do with 1 or 2 starts. So he's been very good for the bullpen as well. Anthony Bonda came in, through 1 inning, allowed just 1 walk, 13 pitches. His ERA just a couple of ticks over 1 at 1.06. Blake Trinan threw an inning and a third, gave up 1 hit, 16 pitches. He's got a 2.16. Daniel Hudson was dominant. He just had zeros and 1K, 14 pitches, and has not allowed an earned run in 16 games. I feel good when he is on the mound. And Evan Phillips, I think we feel even better when he comes in to close the door. His 13th save of the season. Again, zeros across the board, just one strikeout, but 14 pitches to get the save for the Dodgers, 1.59 on the ERA. He has he's been very, very, very dominant and good since returning from the IL. Let's get to the Diamond Dogs list for the night. Top 5 plays, hits, players of the game. Shohei Ohtani in at number 5, obviously leading off the game, hitting a home run on a 2-2 curve that didn't do a whole lot of curving. It kind of started high and just floated down into the zone. I believe it came in at like 72 miles an hour. His 24th homer of the season. It went 376 feet. And I'm glad that I'm not the only one noticing that when Shohei Ohtani is a tick off, he's flailing out and opening up a lot. Oral Hershiser made reference to it tonight as well, because even though Shohei Ohtani had a home run and the game-winning RBI, he just kind of looked a little off. He looked like he was over swinging and flailing out and all of that. But again, good enough to where it doesn't really matter. For number 4, Freddie Freeman, the opposite field home run was kind of the opposite of what Shohei Ohtani did tonight at the plate. He kept his front side in. He was locked in, loaded, and just went opposite field. And the other thing that was interesting to me about that home run for Freddie Freeman was it was like his head never came off the ball. Like, even, when you're playing golf and you're really focusing on a shot or a putt, and you just make sure to keep your head down, so much so that when the club strikes the ball, your head doesn't even move until the ball's long gone. That's what it felt like for Freddie watching that home run. It seemed like he kept his head on the ball for an extra tick or two, and it definitely worked. A 369-foot home run in the 3rd inning, his 12th of the season, tied the game at 3. For number 3, on the list tonight, the Shohei Ohtani game-winning RBI single with 2 outs in the 4th inning, scoring Lux, who had gotten on with a single. Vargas went to 3rd, and it made the game 4-3, which is obviously where it would end. For number 2, Shohei had a double in the 5th, which was his only hit of the night, but he hit the ball hard 3 out of the 4 times, and probably deserved more than just the 1 double in the 5th. And for number 1, not necessarily because it really meant all that much, he did score the game-winning run, but Gavin Lux had a hit in the 8th, which was a line drive up the middle, part of a 2-hit night, and he was on base 3 times tonight. So that was good to see. Gavin Lux now has the average up to 225. Rojas 0 for 3. His average still at a nice spot, 277. Chris Taylor pinch hitting 0 for 1. So he's at 142. Nice at bat, but not a lot to show for it. Ultimately struck out looking on a really solid pitch that just clipped the corner. Kevin Biggio not making a lot of fans in the chat. Quote, he's terrible. Why do we have him in the lineup, et cetera, et cetera. Not a lot of you feeling Kevin Biggio. Batting 200 though, 0 for 4 tonight. Shohei 1 for 4, 229 average. Pajes 0 for 4. Didn't hear a lot or see a lot from him tonight. Freddie Freeman, the 2 RBI, just the 1 hit, the home run, got his average right at an even 300. And Shohei Ohtani up to 320, up a couple of ticks from yesterday, going 2 for 4. So that should get him back to the top of the league. And Will Smith 0 for 5. His average has plummeted to 264 when he was up around 330 about a month ago. He is really, really ice cold. To be specific, the numbers are, where did I write that down? He is 2 for his last 34. Wow. I don't know what's going on there, but it is definitely not good. So hopefully he can find some life and get back in the swing of things. I don't think it will take a whole lot for him to get back on track, because as I mentioned plenty of times before, I feel like he is one of the better, tighter, more compact and simple swings in the Dodger lineup, if not all of baseball. So he is a damn good hitter. It's kind of surprising that he's going through this streak because he seems to make contact a lot. It's not like he's up there striking out. So I don't know what's going on. It's, as Eric Karros likes to say, baseball's hard. It's just baseball. So we'll see what happens there. But I'm not going to lose faith in Will Smith at this point because he's too good a hitter and too consistent. Dodgers, their 50th win of the season, 4-3 the final. And I am Pete Fox. This is the Locked On Dodgers postcast. We come on after the game, break it down for you. It's on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. You can also listen to us wherever you get your podcasts on the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Don't forget to check out Jeff and Vince with the Locked On Dodgers daily podcast. Of course, that's on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel as well, and the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Tonight's show brought to you by PrizePicks, which is why I went and threw together a prize pick of my own, do a little DFS today to get back into the swing of things. It's been probably a few weeks since I've thrown a prize pick out there, and did not go well for me. And at one point, I was sitting there going, I was rooting for Bobby Miller to get a strikeout, and he was pitching to Tommy Pham, who I needed to get a base hit. And I was like, I hate it when this happens. This is one of the things about fantasy that I don't like, when you're betting on two things and they end up facing off against each other. And that's like got you in a little bit of a pickle, but it's always fun to laugh at those situations. PrizePicks, of course, is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 players and their stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. They've got something else cool going on right now that it's a Tuesday thing. I believe today is Tuesday, right? Let me look this up for you real quick because I forgot what it is, but it's cool. It's like you get your money back if you lose on Tuesdays. And of course, as I look it up, it's really small, so I got to make it bigger. Where did it go? And of course, it's a completely different script than I saw a week ago. Anyway, I promise you next time I come up with the prize picks, I'll have that specific piece of information for you because it's kind of cool. There's special days going on throughout the week. I know Tuesdays is one of them. I don't know if Tuesdays is when you get your money back, but there is a day throughout the week where you can get a refund if you lose. And I don't know what day it is because it's not showing up on this particular script that I had just a few days ago. So anyway, another cool thing that they do, the demons and the goblins. I had 2 goblins tonight, they're a little bit lower paying, but they are easier to win. I, of course, didn't win either one of them. But the fact is, when you do have them in your thing, they're a little bit easier to hit. And as you know, winning is always better than losing. The demons are a little bit harder to hit, but they pay better. So if you do hit them, you can cash in big time. For example, if you hit 4, if you're really, really brave and you hit 4 demons, that you can win up to 100 times your money with just 4 correct picks. PrizePicks also has quick deposits, easy withdrawals, my initial deposit, super painless, hassle-free, and I got that 100% match on my initial deposit. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB. Use the code LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. PrizePicks, it is that easy. Oh, here it is. I found it in that quick 5 seconds during the transition. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered every week, from lowering select players' stat projections on Tuesday to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Friday. So losing lineup, you get your entry fee back on Friday, and they'll lower the stat projection for you on Tuesday, which I'm pretty sure I experienced tonight. Although, as I said, it did not work out for me because Tommy Pham went hitless. Miggy Rojas went hitless. Bobby Miller had 1 strikeout, and the only one I hit out of my 4 was Shohei Ohtani with the over 2.5 total bases. He had way more than that. I think he had 5 or 6 even. So rough outing for Bobby Miller. Hopefully he can get things back on track, but struggled with location, and he just didn't have the kind of control and action that we're used to seeing from Bobby Miller, just surviving 2 innings. But the fact is the bullpen came in and did what they have been doing. And that's good to see that they can keep that rolling. Peterson, Ramirez, Bonda, Trinan, Hudson, and Phillips. And as you guys have commented, Hudson has been on. Smith, what is Craig saying here? Smith hitting is bad luck. Yeah, there's some of that, kind of like what was going on with Jason Hernandez tonight, just hitting the ball right at people. Yeah, it's a very good point. A couple of nights ago, excuse me, hold on. Wow, dry throat. A couple of nights ago, can't remember where they were. I think it was against the Angels, or maybe the series before that against Colorado. Will Smith was hitting balls deep to the warning track in right field, and always into someone's glove, and then finally pulled one a little bit and it went out for a home run. So that's one of his 2 hits in his last 34 at bats was a home run. But yeah, he has been hitting the ball hard. It's not like he's up there looking, out of control and baffled and mesmerized. He's definitely making good contact, just going through a bad streak of luck right now. Vargas is also hitting the ball well. Had a hit last night. Did Vargas get a hit tonight? Yeah, 1 for 2. So he's quietly up to 344. So not making a whole lot of noise, but getting base hits and getting on base. Ohtani and Freeman did the lion's share of the work tonight. All 4 RBI for those 2 guys with 2 home runs. Number 12 for Freddie Freeman and number 24 for Shohei Ohtani. I wonder if he is going to make the All-Star team. I think that is a shoo-in. 4-3 the win tonight. The Dodgers will look for the series sweep on the south side of Chicago, a guaranteed rate against the White Sox. A really good pitching matchup for you tomorrow in the finale. That one also will start at 5:10 p.m. Gavin Stone, who's been one of the Dodgers' best of late, comes in with an 8-2 record and a 3.04 ERA, facing off against Fedde, who has a 5-2 record and a 3.05 ERA. So a really solid pitching matchup there. And let's hope that Gavin Stone can keep it rolling and the Dodgers can finish off the sweep here and get win number 51 and their 26th win on the road. If they win tomorrow, White Sox fall to 21-60. They have lost 60 games. Ouch. 13-27 at home. That's going to do it for me tonight here, the Locked On Dodgers postcast. Thank you guys for checking in the comments. Thank you for listening on the Dodgers podcast feed. Enjoy the rest of your night. We will be back here in the chair doing it once again tomorrow. Wrapping up and breaking down game 3 of this series against the Chicago White Sox. Again, this is the Locked On Dodgers postcast on the Locked On Sports LA YouTube channel and the Locked On Dodgers podcast feed. Have a good night. We'll talk tomorrow.